I'm Katie Uhlmann reporting for Katie Chats at SMITHEETV in downtown Toronto. I'm here with filmmaker Scott Harper. Hello. How does it feel to have The Secret Life of Pigeons screening tomorrow night?
It's exciting. It's one of those projects that was a long time coming. You know, it was a nature film that hadn't been done yet. There's not that many animals left that haven't had their debut, their primetime debut. And I think we found one that was really interesting, a much different creature than people think of it as, you know? So it's exciting. Exciting to get it out there and see what people think, see if it makes a bit of a connection.
And through watching the documentary, I learned that pigeons recognize our faces. Can you tell me a little bit about the study that was done in the film and, you know, how you felt when you realized, you know, what a personal connection we have with these critters?
Well, when you look at them on the street, you don't think they're very smart, right? They just bob around town. They look like they're confused, a bit dazed, a bit out of it. Turns out there's a lot going on upstairs. And one of the things they can do, they can recognize letters in the alphabet. They can distinguish between different pieces of art. They can recognize a stranded boat hundreds of miles away. But they can, well, I shouldn't say hundreds, maybe 100 miles away. They can also recognize the difference between people's faces. And we did a study that was based on another study that took place in Paris, where you have two people feed the birds side by side, and one shoos them away as they're being fed. Obviously, the birds gravitate towards the nice guy, right, the friendly researcher. And then we leave the park and come back sort of 15 minutes later and try and do it again when the birds remember which was which. So they ignore the bad guy and stick with the good guy. Now, take to the next step. We have them come back again. This time they switch coats. Mm-hmm. So there are two people that look similar to begin with, but they switch what they were wearing. So
two good-looking brunettes, in case anyone was wondering.
Exactly. And the idea is, will they be able to tell the faces apart? Even though now they're sitting in the opposite positions from where they were, and they've changed their outfit, basically. And the answer is yes. All of them recognized good cop from bad cop, which was kind of amazing. You wouldn't think they would do it, you know, based on how they look, but what they seem to be doing out there. But they're pretty observant.
Very brilliant. And pigeons have been used for a long time as mail carriers in times of war, on Wall Street to send notes from investors from one office building to the other. Can you talk a little bit about their advanced navigation system and how they've been used throughout history, really?
Well, they became the world's first domesticated animal just for that reason. Well, before that, actually, they were bred for food, but they did have this amazing ability. Take them in a crate hundreds of miles from where they are, let them go, and they go straight back. So how do they do that? Well, the way they do it is a combination of being able to read the Earth's magnetic field, but also being able to smell their way around. They actually can tell a difference between different odor gradients in the atmosphere. Sounds very high science, which it is. And based on that, they can figure out where they are by how it smells, really, and from that, what direction is home. So they've been used, like you said, to carry messages as far back as, you know, the Romans, the Greeks, and even before ancient Egyptians would use them to communicate between groups, to send messages during times of battle. Genghis Khan used them, Julius Caesar used them. They are the original email. They're the original text. Long before the cell, long before mail, any other form of communication, it was a pigeon, and they were reliable to go back to where they came from, and that's how they were used. Yeah.
And the other thing that was extremely interesting to me were these show pigeons. So sort of like dog shows. There's people, lots of people who have pet pigeons, and they show them in competitions. Can you tell me a little bit about the selective breeding that goes on to make these such, you know, incredible birds, really?
I know, it's another one of those it's not underground, but you would never notice this. There are thousands of people all over the world that do this. And they've been doing it for a long time. What they really are, the mad scientists of the pigeon world, right? What they're trying to do is create a genetic work of art. And they're trying to establish a new standard, a new kind of bird. In some cases, they're trying to match an old standard, but they'll, just like dogs or cats, they'll put together pigeons with slightly different features to see if they can create something original out of that. And it's primarily for aesthetic value. I know it sounds a little crazy, but you get birds with crazy breasts up to here and wild feathers and like half a beak and, you know, feathers sticking out the bottom, or like Indian tail. Really fascinating looking creatures. And they're in good company. I mean, Charles Darwin originally did this to show how you can how species can evolve from within a particular, within a particular species. So it's not matching up, completely different birds. It's slight variations within a species, in his case pigeons, to show that there's, a theory of how evolution works. And these guys are still working in that same vein. They're a bit of they're more showman about it, But what they come up with is pretty amazing. Very colorful, unique, exotic-looking things. Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier that people historically had pigeons to consume as food. So chickens really seem to take the world by storm there. Do you think we'll ever have a movement back to eating pigeons?
I don't know. I mean, the chickens are a little tastier. There's a little bit more on the bone there for sure. I think people now regard pigeons for the most part as kind of a dirty pest. That's not true. They're actually very clean. They're resistant to disease and parasites. They don't pass on a lot of health issues anywhere they go. So, they're not as bad as people think they are, but I don't think they're going to take over the chicken, turkey, as a top option in the restaurant.
Happy Thanksgiving,
yeah,
pigeon.
Happy Thanksgiving, here's some pigeon, yeah.
And where's the best place for us to find out more information on you and the Secret Life of Pigeons online?
Nice of you to ask. Nature Things website has a whole slew of information about pigeons. My website is sundaynight.ca, and you can find out all manner of stuff about pigeons from either.
Well, thanks so much and congratulations.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
I'm Katie Uhlmann reporting for Katie Chats at SMITHEETV in downtown Toronto.